Now, Josh Frydenberg, there'd been some speculation. Clearly, he wants to come back to politics at some point, but it won't be in Kooyong at the next election.
We have an outstanding candidate in Kooyong, Amelia Hamer, and she is really taking the fight up to the Teals party. It's Monique Ryan, who's been a great disappointment. Look, Josh is an outstanding Australian, and I certainly hope that we'll see him back in public life at some point. But as he's rightly pointed out today, the Liberal Party has a pre-selected candidate in Kooyong. She's doing a great job. We're all very keen to see her in the Parliament. I think the people of Kooyong will respond very warmly to the opportunity to vote for her.
Josh Frydenberg obviously had been thinking about it the last few days. The idea that you would dump a young woman, the transactional cost of all of that would be devastating for the Liberal Party if he were to go down that line. Obviously, he's decided not to, but there are other seats that he could put his hand up for potentially if the pre-selections are reopened.
Look, I'll leave it to Josh to comment on his political future, and I think it's, he's made a clear statement just a few minutes ago. I welcome that. Josh is an outstanding Australian. He served our party and our nation incredibly well in his time in the Parliament. I certainly hope he'll be back in public life at some point in the future, but he's been very clear this morning. And I'm really pleased that we've got such an outstanding candidate in Kooyong, in Amelia Hamer, and I'm very confident that we'll see her in the Parliament after the next election.
The wages review, the decision out today, 3.75% for those on the minimum wage. Is that a responsible decision in your view?
Well, look, the Fair Work Commission is an independent body. We respect its independence. The point I'd make is this. Nominal wages are one thing. What matters is real wages. That's to say nominal wages and then how they compare to the rate of inflation. The fact is, we saw last week, inflation is not going away anytime soon. Core inflation, which is the measure the RBA tracks most closely, sitting at 4.1%, well above the target band of 2 to 3. And the Treasurer and Treasury seem to be optimistic that we're going to see inflation continuing to fall. There are plenty of market commentators saying there's not much evidence of that, and the next move in interest rates could be up, not down. So the key point is that ultimately what matters for workers, for everybody, is real income increases. And the best way to get real income increases is to get inflation back down under control. We're seeing no sign of this government.
Well, the Fair Work Commission decision today looks like it is responsible, though, in the context it's not going to put further pressure on inflation. You'd welcome that?
They have, in their reasoning, made a reference to the expected rate of inflation. I acknowledge that. But the point I make is that expected rate of inflation is one thing, but what it might end up being could be higher. And the sad fact is that the budget in recent weeks is a budget that fuelled inflation rather than fighting inflation. Cumulative additional Labor spending now $315 billion. We have been saying for quite some time the priority here is to get inflation under control. We're seeing no evidence that Labor has an effective plan to do that.